Let's discuss. Hey everyone, it's Rachel back again with another video, and today we are going to be checking out a new track from Tactosa, which we've done a few tracks on stream from their newest EP, Exit Wounds, which just came out this year. It is what really put me onto this band. I love what I've heard of it, and now that I'm doing this video, I'm realizing I need to listen to the rest of it. But they have a new track, and it is called The Bleeding Machine. That is what we'll be checking out today. Obviously, as you clicked on the video and probably know that. A big shout out to Brad, who is management for a lot of really incredible bands, including Tactosa, who put me on to this video / song. I just cannot speak highly enough of Brad, and Brad has helped out the channel a ton, so big shout out. I will link all of the band's social media as well as the video I'll be using in the reaction portion of this in the description of this video. Other than that, I'm going to stop talking and we are going to get straight into it. The familiar sound. That snare. Ooh, I like those highs. Oh my! Filling in on the lead up. Going to like a two-steppy beat. Tactosa, the bleeding machine, let's discuss. Tactosa, the bleeding machine, let's discuss. This definitely works for me. It has some aspects of the things that kind of drew me into the band, because I've talked a bit about how when it comes to more of like the squealing vocals and stuff that rides more along that line, it's not often on my radar. More of the deathcore that I listen to is like Fit for an Autopsy and things like that, which obviously have a much different vocal approach, but it felt like there were just certain things happening in every part where I didn't necessarily get on as well with the vocals. Like I said, the highs I love those. That is 100% up my alley. It's more when it gets into like a bit of different territory, and it's not that I don't like it either, it's just not necessarily something I mesh with quite as well as like those highs, for example. But there are things like the track Tastemaker. I think that was the first one off the EP that I was really like, oh, I like that. And it has some spots where like the kicks really lead like what's going on in that part of the song, and this felt like the same way in some of the parts where I didn't get on with the vocals so well, either the bass or something going on percussion wise. Like that was carrying for me in the moments that I didn't necessarily mesh with those vocals so much. And I just want to emphasize that it's not that I don't like them, it's just there's stuff that I much prefer that typically gets onto like my repeat much more easily than some other things. Squealing, any sort of pig squeal, that sort of stuff is territory that's like, it's got to be very particular, and I don't even exactly know what it is. So it's not got anything to do with like the way it was done in the song or anything like that. It's just really my taste. But anyway, with this track, it has a lot of what drew me, and like the sound of the snare too. That snare tone is just very distinctive. I think the only other band right now I'm really listening to a lot of that has anything similar would be like Psycho Frame, and that's very intentional, I think, and speaks to the style of a lot of the vocals that I don't necessarily feel out as well. But the instrumentation never let up on this track for me at all. Sorry about my dog barking down there. She's been off the wall today, so we're just gonna work right through it. But anyway. But tracks like, I think Augured In was the other one that I really enjoyed off of that. The title track was great as well, but it's a band that doesn't necessarily fit all of what I'm usually listening to, but has kind of branched me out a little bit because they have some tracks that I've just found myself repeating. Do It Yourself Autopsy, that's one, and it has the Kyle feature, which works really well for me. I think he fits this style perfectly, and I love the sound of his vocals. That's a band that I really do. I've talked enough about the channel, or on the channel about that though, I think. So anyway, with this, it does feel unsurprising. It's very much what I'm looking for when I'm going to Tactosa. They're on tour this summer/fall. I believe it goes into the fall. I may be wrong and it may just be summer, but it's coming up soon, so I'll link all of that in the description. I think I'm like walking a weird line when it comes to stuff I would have want to have seen differently on this track, or any sort of criticism, because the stuff that I didn't mesh with was very minimal, and I've already spoke on what that is, and it's really got to do with my taste, which seems to be like, you know, a thing about this band that sort of pushes me past that. And they do it sometimes even with these vocals on some of their songs in their discography, that's in a way where it does work for me, where typically the style doesn't. So I don't think I would want to see anything differently, because this is a band I feel like I know what I'm getting when I go into it. Not that I could like picture what the song will sound like, but in terms of like, you know, the stuff that I've talked about thus far, with kind of venturing out for what I'm on repeat with. I think having some Tactosa in my top played songs weekly since that stream that I talked about has been like eye-opening for me, because I didn't think on first listen that would be the case, but the more I went back to it, the more I revisited, I was like, really do like that, and it kind of branched me out a little bit more into some other bands that follow that same style. So it feels a little bit weird. It's like I don't really think there's anything I would want differently, especially because the parts that I'm talking about where it didn't click, or however you want to word it, so it doesn't sound like the same thing I've said 15 times already up to this video. The instrumentation is just so on point for me that it does not matter. The bass in this track was plentiful, and I've talked a lot on the channel about looking for that quality really because I love the sound of bass, and it's just such a prominent instrument in a lot of what we listen to. When you look at, like, you know, what is the focus of a bass drop? That sort of thing. And we're getting more and more bands, I think, or at least I'm finding more and more bands where it does have the spotlight. It feels it should. Drumming on this was stellar as well. It sounded great. I love the sound of the snare. It's got that, like, you know, that, like, bring you back sound kind of for me. A lot of stuff that I did listen to that had any sort of similarities in sound, it was quite a long time ago at this point. And then with bands like Psycho Frame, I've gotten further into the present stuff going on. So it's complicated. That's sort of where I'm at with it. Should wrap it up now. But this track, huge riffs, big moments really all around, and it has that call out for fuck this shit. I'm really into stuff like that. I don't feel like I've hidden that on my channel, so of course that worked for me and will be a thing that draws me to revisit the track even more. I'm happy with this. This will go on the playlist, but it probably won't end up being like my most played song from the band or like a top weekly track for me, but it will be a nice addition to my playlist nonetheless. So those are my thoughts after first listen. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and I will link all the band's social media, the video I used in the reaction portion of this. All that stuff will be in the description of this video, as well as my link tree, which will have the invite for the Discord server, my Patreon, my Twitch channel, all stuff that's getting a lot of attention. The Discord server is where the community is and has been based for my channel. We've got a bunch of music lovers in there, and the conversation is both related and unrelated to music. So if you're interested in coming to join, check out the community that is there. Patreon and Twitch are stuff that I'm focusing on more and more. Patreon I rolled out at the beginning of this year, and I've had a lot of fun working on the content. I have some videos already recorded that I'm going to be posting on there in the upcoming week or two. I'm trying to get on a regular schedule with them, but I'm also going to be offering more stuff on there, revamping the tiers to offer more. So if you want to take a look at that, see what it is all about, and see what I might eventually be offering as well, that will be there. As always, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it.